in, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to ESL Pro League. We are back once again. Excellent start yesterday, and of course, these guys were here to bring us through it. Semler, of course, had a small moment yesterday, but he's all good. He's all good, and YNK has joined us
there was
as
nothing
well.
small about it.
And it wasn't a moment, but
it was a triumph.
It was an explosive start. Let's just put it that way to the show. That's for sure. So, well, let's talk about yesterday. Let's look at yesterday's results to start with. Obviously, yesterday we did have a big game beginning the show. It was Astralis versus Na'Vi. Fantastic stuff. We can get the scores on your screen, of course. It was a bit of an upset. I mean, because, well, 16-13, it could have gone either way. But the second map, it was at 13-2. And they lost 16-14. Crazy.
I mean, looking at the scores right now, for someone who didn't watch yesterday's games, they would think, oh, okay, a map for Astralis, a map for Na'Vi, pretty close. It's what I would have expected. But if you're actually watching the games, you would expect it to be switched. I mean, you would expect Na'Vi to have been able to close out Mirage and Astralis to do the same on Overpass, not Cash. But yeah, those games were pretty crazy with that amazing comeback on the second map for Na'Vi.
And then, of course, the MVSK game went to overtime, double overtime, in fact. Pretty damn close, but then fell apart at Cobblestone.
Yeah, I think that was basically the point where Envy woke up. Envy just, I don't like watching that first map. That wasn't Envy.
Bit of jet lag.
They were. Well, I think it's more like we just won $80,000, guys. Do we really need to play? Oh yeah, we do. Okay, it took a map for them to wake up, but then they just did work, right? So second map pretty much went according to plan for them. And it was a quick map to end the night.
It was a quick one to end the night. That was good. Everybody was happy with that one. But let's check out today's games, of course. Starting things off are going to be Astralis once again. This time it's going to be against G2, obviously formerly ex-Titan guys in there. And then, of course, Virtus Pro up against FaZe Clan, formerly G2. It's going to get confusing for anyone that doesn't follow the CSGO scene so quite deeply. But some pretty good games tonight and pretty good maps overall.
Definitely, and also it's going to be interesting to see both VP and FaZe match up, because we haven't seen VP. Okay, we saw them at Leipzig. They didn't perform really well, but before that, their last tournament was DreamHack Winter. So they basically had two showings in a span of almost 3 months, 2.5 months, and we have to see if they have improved since their last time.
It's really going to it's going to boil down to, okay, you had your break, right? Because that's what happened with all the teams, all the tier 1 teams, etc. They all had a long Christmas break. None of them really touched the game, and then it was kind of a toss-up as to who was going to be able to perform on the spot, because you're not really practicing. You're going into a tournament. You're a bit cold, and yeah, Virtus Pro, they just got trounced. I don't think that they were expecting what happened at Leipzig. I don't think anybody was.
Well, I mean, before we get into obviously the first match, let's talk about obviously how you guys can get into here. The Score Esports app, if I can speak properly, is out there and obviously available for iOS and at Google Play. You can get your score stats, everything you want on there is there. Go check it out and get it yourself. So let's start talking about the first map. It is obviously, I'm going to have to sweep my page. It is going to be Astralis versus G2 Esports. The two maps are Inferno Cash. Let's talk about G2 on Inferno first, Yanko. I know you've had a good old look at this one over on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, in the video I did about Inferno and map control, and G2, this team was actually my example for a good way to play around your CT side on Inferno. They do a lot of different stuff. They go for that deep banana smoke that a lot of teams do. They go for the semi-aggressive banana smoke. They switch things around, go for 4 players A and so on. So they're a really good team at mixing things up on their CT side, which is really important. But in order to do that, you need to have a good start to get your economy going.
Yeah, I mean, we could say the same about Astralis. We used to say, Inferno, this is one of the best maps.
They always seem to really come up with it. And again, they were also an innovative team when it came to banana control. Xyp9x used to be a nightmare. It was basically like, you're checking under the bed, you're checking in the closet, you're looking up, because Xyp9x, you never knew where he was going to be. That was like back in the day. Obviously, they've matured since then. They've changed it up, and they've definitely like fallen more into a rhythm. They don't necessarily come up with the clever stuff anymore. They know what works, and that's what they count on to carry them through on their CT side. But I mean, Yanko makes the point. Basically, all CT sides come down to, do you get a strong start so you can get the economy, to get the nades, the smokes, and the Molotovs. Those are going to be the 2 key instruments that are necessary for a strong CT side. And whether Astralis or G2, are they able to get that going for them? That's going to determine how it goes for them tonight.
Well, I know we do have a graphic. We were talking about, obviously, the players, you're looking at Dupree, Device in there.
Yeah.
They were some of the best performers yesterday. And obviously, we highlighted a lot about Device to start with. We're looking at him against Guardian. How do we feel that they've started to fare? Because we were talking off the air about how their new office setup is, etc. Do we feel this is really going to kick on Astralis? Because obviously, they've been in a bit of a slump. I mean, third, fourth finish is not a slump for a lot of people, but for them, it definitely felt that way.
Yeah, I mean, for a team that's always aiming to get to those first place finishes, it is. I think that's the idea they have for that office setup, treat it like work at times, but still be able to go back to your own home. I think that's a great idea.
And it's perfect.
In this particular matchup, since they Device is now taking the primary op role. Yesterday he had to play against Guardian. Today it is probably going to be Smith, but also on a map like Inferno, our first map, it's not. You won't see as many op duels. I think the opper is more important on the CT side because you can move him around. You can send him bananas, send him towards mid, go aggressive apps, and I think that's the best way to utilize your op. Move him around so the Ts always have to keep guessing.
Yeah, I'm going to bring just the veto in briefly because obviously you guys home may not know how it works now. It is very different from previous seasons. The two teams will blind ban 2 maps. Now, for this one, it's been Astralis banned out Train and Cobble, G2 banned out Mirage and Overpass, which obviously left us to In the Wind, and we ended up with Inferno and Cash. Do you feel that's worked out better for any of these two teams?
I mean, as you mentioned, they just played in Lithuania.
Yes,
at the game show, right?
game show, yeah.
I mean, I couldn't really watch that game.
That was overtime on Cash. That was 19-15, so I mean, it's clearly a close map for the two.
It was on a Zubu. I think, I don't think anyone could have watched it, but now it's on Twitch. So we can all watch this game.
Big burns right there, boys.
So, I mean, it was an extremely
It was on
close
Twitch
game.
for a brief moment.
I saw people tweeting about it, that it also, Xipnix won an amazing 1v3 in one of the games, so that it basically was G2 losing the game more than it was Astralis winning it, which is a good sign. But that is the problem with G2. I mean, I'm sure you would agree with me. They're a team who has this great, some tactical ideas, have always a strong game plan coming into games, but they mess up with some fundamental things, with some basic things. They make a couple of basic mistakes, and then it all goes crashing down for them.
To me, it's always been the case that like Cash and Inferno are always really good maps for Existence as a leader, right? He's always had like really strong performances on that map for some reason. It just seems to fit for him. But they're still kind of caught in the middle for me. And Shoxy and Smith coming back into it as well. They're used to this more loose style. Existence was trying to go towards that more loose style, but he's always going to have that over his head, the fact that he was this puppet master kind of leader. Everything had to go according to plan. Here was your role. You do your role. If I tell you to jump, you ask how high. You don't. There's no messing around with him. He always had that very strict, way of running his team. And unfortunately, CS:GO is basically fortunately for the evolution of the game, but unfortunately for pistols and whatnot. We're seeing that go towards the more loose style, which is what Shoxy and Smiths really love because they came from Envy, right? And Envy, I mean, they're the kings of the loose, kind of play, play off of pistols, play off of each
force
other,
everything
look for
that's
duels,
going out there,
force everything. Yeah, what's a strat? Now we don't know that. Like it's all about headshots, right? But so now they're trying to find this balance between the two. I think still where Shoxy, he's having to come in and try. He's always been very forceful with how he handles his in-game leaders, which is why sometimes teams have difficulty with him. He can be very headstrong and say, this is how I want to play the game. In-game leader's like, well, I don't really want to play that way. Shoxy's like, well, then I'm just going to go over here and play for these guys now, peace. Like that's usually how it goes. Only problem is now Shoxy and Smith, they don't really have anywhere else to go. So they are going to have to find a way to make it work between these two, between Existence and Shoxy, and the two different styles that those two guys represent. So
about time a third French team just appeared out of nowhere, so they've got place to go now.
LDLC, they're still on the grind.
They're on the grind,
they're sub-top. They're just not. They haven't had that opportunity yet. Well, they've had opportunities to play in international tournaments last year at Tour, for example, at DreamHack. They got to play, but there really is no other option. You're either on Envy or you're on G2 now.
G2 now, yeah. It's going to get confusing, guys, for anyone that's not kept up with it, or G2, and especially the fact we got FaZe as well tonight, though formerly G2, which is massive transfer fee. Anyway, you guys at home, if you want to get involved, don't forget to tweet us at ESLCS and use the hashtag ESL Pro League. See, remembered it today. Nailed it. Nailed my job. Fantastic stuff. We're going to go to your casters. It looks like they are ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Pandas.
Thank you so much. And I believe it was actually Red Eye who came up with that. And
It was.
always good to be reminded of Red Eye before a show. It really does inspire me on every level. So let's
Here we go. All right.
let's get into game 1A. We've got a good little matchup coming through.
Yes, we do. Quite a lot of them actually this evening. I feel like
Real loud.
Very
Real
loud
then.
suddenly.
Just it feels like you're shouting at me.
Well,
I know you're excited. We mentioned Red
I-
Eye. We all got a little excited, but just bring it back down a touch.
It is true. Well, I mean, this is it's going to be a fun evening. 4 really good
Yep.
teams and no cobblestone. So already.
So you're happy, just by
already, yeah.
default. Very, very happy.
We can avoid all the masochism that we saw yesterday, which is good news.
Yes.
No, I think this is going to be a good game. And I actually, particularly tonight, I look forward to watching Virtus Pro. Not that I don't care about the other teams, but just that when they're taking all that time off going into DreamHack in Leipzig, I was expecting a lot. I feel like I got very little. So I want to see more out of them tonight. So.
No, I'm with you on that, especially on Train.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see Train because they started to show some real premise on there, and especially like Neo coming back into it feeling really strong. So hopefully they can rekindle a little bit of that. But into game 1, kicking off on Inferno, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Ooh, I don't know where I stand on this one. G2's had that real swing up in the last couple of tournaments, or at least last couple of times. Maybe just a couple of maps coming through for them that have really started to, show that they can play this to a decent degree. 4-0 in the last 3 months on it at least. But then again, you look at G2, it's hard to doubt them as well. They are such a strong side. Astralis overall.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like, what Astralis are we going to be seeing here?
I mean, if we're going to be seeing the one that we saw yesterday, that was a lot more confident, that were less hesitant in their sort of team play, seem to be willing to sacrifice themselves for each other, then I think they're gonna wreck G2 on this map. I think the style that they played yesterday was so refreshing. It's exactly what I want to see out of them. So if that's gonna happen, then yeah, definitely.
Yep.
And the Frenchmen, and the 2 Belgians, I'm not always sure. Like they
What are you
seem
gonna
to
get?
have. They seem to have like all the required parts to make a really good team. Even RPK lately has been playing so much better. He's been having some great games, but it's still some of them he's not working. They got one of the best players in the world on that team in Shocks. So this should be possible to just get a lot more out of this team, and it's not. So.
Yeah, it always feels like we're waiting for them to start clicking. Like, I don't know what it is that's going to make it just suddenly start falling into place, but you always just think there's so much potential, just all waiting to be pieced together in that lineup. But yeah, as I said, I always remember speaking to Vendetta about RPK. This guy just sits there like, one day he'll return. One day he will come back to that former glory. Well, we all pray and hope so. But I can imagine the players are getting warmed up if we're staring at us again. So hopefully we'll be in the server nice and quickly, and not keeping you waiting too long, because I don't like cutting off the analysis to come to casters and then not going in game. Just saying. Just gonna say.
It's always
Yanko's
weird,
like,
isn't it?
you're becoming one of us.
Just enjoying it.
Yeah.
Well, I was just reliving some memories and reminding myself of how much I love Moses. Basically, those were good times.
Yeah.
So.
To be fair, just before it came over to us, he was rewatching the VOD from it was I Am San Jose, right?
Yeah.
The 3v3, the infamous 3v3. Where we saw the downfall and demise of NA's hopes and dreams.
Yeah, finally, even on the casting side, apparently, it was interesting. I mean, Moses has been trying to arrange a sort of a revenge match ever since, but
really,
it seems to me he's not been trying hard enough because it hasn't been successful. So if he really wanted it, if he was really hungry to get like a rematch, I'm just saying Moses, then it's probably probably would have made it work, right?
I think he's actually a little scared. And he's just
that's
doing
what
the
I'm
whole,
wondering.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it happen, but
it might even be that kind of
issues.
fear that he's not quite aware of it.
Yeah, it's so internal.
Yeah.
It's just a core issue that I think he has. Like we hope that Moses overcomes that somewhere down the line, but
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and call him a bitch, but people can make their own conclusions. I think that's what it boils down to, as the politicians will say.
Yeah, to be fair, like Moses almost threw me under the bus when we were discussing some other issues, like I think it was during Taipei. So there's no love there for me. Don't worry, I'll happily throw him under the bus a little later on. I just think it's a little harsh to start straight out with calling him a bitch, basically.
I didn't. I mean, that's the whole point.
Oh, you just implied that by
No, I
some
just said,
definition.
Said people can make up their own minds about it.
Right.
So
Right.
it's entirely up to the public, is what I'm saying.
Do let us know. Use the hashtag ESL Pro League.
Indeed.
Is a bitch, in your opinion, not Anders by any default. But
I mean,
we are
definitely
just
not.
No, he's
Definitely
a kind
not.
soul. Anders is such a kind man. If only you would. But no, we are just waiting on these guys to start up, and hopefully we can get this one underway. But
Yeah, we've got Sonic currently on the Astralis side, so I'm guessing that's not going to be a thing. Need the rest, need device especially to get back in here.
please, device, return to us.
Yeah, I mean, it is Inferno, and CT lockdowns are possible.
Yeah.
If I had to say, I would actually feel somewhat confident in saying that Astralis.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like G2 are in a weird place. I'd love to be proven wrong, especially if it means I particularly care about how well RPK is going to be doing, because some of those online games I saw when he was playing. Or even some of the LAN games when they were playing Cash, RPK was playing very well. Like he had some incredible clutches, just seemed very focused, very on point. So I just want that to continue. It's nothing worse than seeing like the glimmer of something really great,
And then it just being taken away.
and then you're just like, oh, that was just one time, I guess. It's not going to come back. So yes, I really want. I would love to be proven wrong.
Well, I think we're all just waiting to see if he can find a little bit of that. But yeah, I'm curious as to where he goes as well, because last time he did start out kind of playing the solo side. It's almost like where you kind of put Zipnix towards at times, maybe playing towards a B, the Crim style as well, that sort of thing. But recently he's been kind of playing by more Graveyard, he's been playing near Pit, kind of supported out by Smiths, and I think it's Shocks who's over there as well,
Yeah.
at least in the recent goes, I think. So maybe he's just finding his role a little more comfortably now. I'm hoping we get to see him come through on that. I'm just wondering what G2 play like, because looking back at their games not too long ago, I think it was just during the game shows, the most recent games as it is, and for me, it's seeing Smith starting to find a little bit of form as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He had some outstanding games, which that's actually, it sounds weird, because if the worst, I mean, I don't feel bad in saying this, but like, what is either him or Existence as like technically the worst players on the team?
Yeah.
If they are suddenly the people top fragging, it could be like a very encouraging sign. You're like, oh wow, maybe they could all get better. But actually, more often than not, what happens is just the fact that something has changed within sort of the internal dynamic on the team, which means the other people can't be put into play in the same way.
Yes.
And then actually it's not a good thing overall. It just kind of feels that way.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be Smith's or Existence fault or anything, but it's it could be a bit weird sometimes like that. So I would prefer this team to have Shocks and Scream and RPK be like the three players
The
to get a
shining
lot of
lights,
kills,
yeah.
yeah. And then Smith's and Existence, especially because Smith has got so much experience. And I mean, obviously Existence super, but Smith's is a little bit older than the rest of them as well. I think he's just like he's going to be cooler at doing all sorts of things as opposed to doing the sort of the hard carrying all the time necessarily. So, yeah, that makes more sense to me.
We'll have to see if that's going to be a factor. I think I'm with you on that one. But to be fair, I think the only reason I decided to really notice him doing as well was just he was handling everyone pushing CT Arch against him. Simple as that. It wasn't anything too surprising, I guess. But it does seem as though the teams are ready. We're going to get ourselves into the knife round and find out which team does get that CT-sided start more than likely, and get things rolling. See if Yanko's predictions of how this map can work out beautifully for certain sides and how to kind of really make the most of this could come to the forefront. So. Knife round has begun. It looks like Astralis are going to just smash it.
Yeah, and a knife round that actually could have some impact on the game. Getting to start on the CT side, not at all bad, and they will go for the eventual switch up. Now there's CTs in the T spawn. That's very confusing.
That was weird, but they have gone for the CT star, which is something that's not really all that surprising. But it's good to see them just going to peek it straight up. No one's going for the masochistic approach that we saw yesterday of just diving in towards that horrific side on Cobble.
Yeah, I would almost respect it if someone did it on Inferno. I could almost see how that can make sense mentally speaking. It's not on Cobblestone.
No,
any map but that
Cobble
one.
should never happen in that regard. But anyway, carrying it up on the CZ, everyone else just with the armor so far. And on the other side, the Glock train. So, take us away.
Cajun, and actually Device pushing in front of this aggression. They're keeping Scream down on the ramp. And in the meantime, Dupree going to pick up the first kill there on Scream. So that's a really big start. And as soon as they do that, they realize, let's just go and play defensive now, which makes so much sense.
Yeah, sitting back pretty passively at this point. Scream being down, of course, it's going to make the G2 a little bit more of a mountain to climb at this point. But then again, they've not really committed anywhere so far. Just checking to see if anyone's going to be peeking out in mid. That was Smith's there. His Existence working his way up. Banana going to just pass that bomb off as quietly as possible, gifting it into the hands
Yeah, it seemed like it. But look at this aggression coming out here. Device catching the first kill, going for a bit more. Carrigan, C-set in hand, finally going to go down, but it is too late now. Shox in a 1 versus 4. Device is still alive on 1 health. And G2 actually, I think, being a little bit too predictable here in the pistol round. As soon as you're a man down, it's so common to switch to that B approach instead, and they were ready for it. Had 3 people over there. It's a nice shot from Shox to bring Dupree down low, but if you could get a bomb plant out of this round, even that would be quite impressive, and they're set up so nicely to take care of him here. I don't see him getting a bomb down.
It's so unlikely at this point. Both players seem super passive out for Astralis. Just no one going to give him a kill at this point, I can imagine. Dupree's just going to wait it out. Let Cajun B get the spot in. Actually, Shox does get a glimpse towards Dupree. A little bit of a mistake then, but Cajun B is there to deal with the problem. So there we go. Astralis, 4 members staying alive, keeping all that armor in. They only lose out on the CZ that was on Carrigan. And as I said, and I think this is a big point, it's all about that economy starting to build up and be as strong as possible. And the 3 SMGs coming out already, and 2 rifles, looking like maybe they want to really make the most of that. Tech-9s as well for G2 to follow up.
Yeah, I think too many SMGs at this point in time. I don't agree with this. I think it's a little bit too much. I'm wondering, it's Device and Sip who have the only 2. Cajun going aggressive like this, definitely a big fan of that. And he's going to hit the headshot immediately on RPK, but he goes down to existence. And now Dupree's kind of zoned out. He's got back up, but they can't help him from second mid. Flashbang goes through Dupree, can't see a thing. He somehow makes it out, and Device picks up a kill on existence. So it's still a 3-on-3, but again, I think too many SMGs in play.
And how many times do we see these second rounds being turned anyway? It's a dangerous place to be in, especially if you're going down mid, just going super aggressive like that. The hyper-aggression coming out just didn't work out. Sadly, the flashes were on point there. However, Device has found Shock, so at least keeping something into stead, but still, it is down to the... What? Scream! That was beautiful! Device just gets absolutely domed. That's the main rifle down. That means it's all up for grabs here. Is now Scream left in a 1v2, but he does have the M4, he's got head armor, he's got a flash, and the bomb's not too far away. 1 minute to play with.
Yeah, he's definitely got the time for it here. And if he picks up that bomb, then the question is, will they have any way of guessing where he's going to be? Carrigan is making his way back, but that fight would be M4 versus MP7. Not exactly a great fight for Carrigan. Might be a bit better for Sip, who's also in a very strong position for what Scream is doing here. So if Scream makes any kind of noise, this round is probably going to be over, and Sipnik should get the kill. But Scream, still 35 seconds, making his way out. Is he going to get the timing down right? He still hasn't seen anyone in balcony. Now is exposed as well. Sip playing it for time right now, and he's going to get that headshot. So ultimately, Astralis survived the round, but it really was way too close for comfort. They can't even save the M4.
How many times do we see this? But look at Scream here. This was just beautiful. Device just swings out on him. 2 shots, just doming him. It's such a dangerous, game to play when you're against that, man. You just can never be safe, even on the most simple of peaks. And as much as really Device should have had an advantage then, wasn't the case. But still, G2 not sticking true to the trend of teams consistently turning those second rounds. Going to be back onto the P250s. Lots of nades down mid, and Device going walkabouts. So there's a hell of a lot of targets far up here, but Scream again, that P250 in his hands is looking more and more deadly.
Carrigan dropping somewhat low as well. They do still only have the 1 M4 in play here. And G2 seeing the grenades coming, even for the second round here, which is a bit unusual. But their position is also worse because they don't have any armor right now. So it's going to be so much harder for them. Last time, if they steal that M4, they have M4 and armor. That's a great way to build around. But now it's going to be a little bit more tricky. And Sip seeing the edge of RPK there.
Cajun B's just waiting. And as said, no armor there. This should be a very easy cleanup. Expecting a little more Scream. Just playing out by balcony. For Cajun. If that P250 is going to get some action again. Cajun B shows now it's done with the USPS. So 3 rounds straight back-to-back for Astralis. Certainly not as clean, I guess, as you maybe like. They did go for a lot of those SMGs. They did lose a lot of those SMGs. But, they're in a relatively decent place to get their utility into play. They've got the AWP on device. And G2 still, set well enough, but maybe not as flush as they'd like.
No, we'll see. They don't have any Molotovs, and there are 2 on the Astralis side, so that will make a bit of a difference. But right now, it's Device in the middle with the AWP. Are they going to try and challenge him? Flashbang out once. It looked like a shot that he could have hit, but he doesn't. Checks and sees that there's at least 1 person there in second mid. And still being very aggressive here, and this is going to be a little bit annoying to Shox, but no, he hits the headshot. That's a fantastic start. Smith does get returnable, and it's still a favorable trade here for G2.
Absolutely awesome step out then from Shox. Just almost expecting it, and to be fair, so did Device. So Device has been really feeling the wrath of the Frenchman so far, especially in the sake of aim, and down to this 4v4. G2 going to have to try and work that I guess, advantage to a degree being on the T side with the even numbers after losing out on one. So 3 players heading over towards B now.
Yeah, this is a gamble. This is a huge risk to take from Astralis, but I really like it. It's one of those things where if you just play a default and have 2 in either bomb site, there is a pretty good chance you're going to lose the round. So now they have to, if it is an A hit, which is sort of shaping up to be, they're going to have to rely on Cajun getting at least 1 and preferably 2 kills here. Karrigan even peeking up for information. They're pushing up. So this is so smart play from Astralis. They know that they're going to be in trouble if they just wait around. So not only do they do the stack, they also get the information, know that no one's pushing, and now they can rotate in from behind and help out Cajun, who's still in pit and buying time, and he's even got a smoke and a flashbang there. He's going to go down, though. Great shot from Scream ringing in, and now it's a 3-on-3 with health advantage actually being in favor of G2. The bomb is going to go down as well. They've got RPK playing in the pit. This is still a strong setup, even in a 2v3.
Yeah, RPK is there waiting on the side. We've got Shox just smoking out one angle, going to try and limit where the CT side are going to take that risk to come through from. However, Shox is watching to see if Dupree's going to take the chance on that. And Dupree is there right on the edge of the other side of this, but Shox has been hitting shots like a champ so far, as RPK is just biding the time out. While he's going in, you've got Karrigan coming from above. Dupree goes down. It's down to this 2v2 now. Lovely crossfire coming out again and again. Dancing around just that piece of the pole then, and RPK does exactly what's required. That's just a lovely little 2 kind of setup piece then from them, waiting for that push to come through.
Yeah, beautiful play, really, and a very nice way to close out the round, in spite of the fact that their A push got discovered. As soon as they peeked down Banana,
yeah, Karrigan found it out.
Yeah, that should be... That should be the end of the round, but it should be close, right? They still get in there and trade favorably, get the bomb down, and then eventually they just clutch it. So really well done. 2 C-Seds, 2 for Mars, and 1 M4 here on Astralis. And a bit of a testimony again to the fact that they just did not have enough money going forward, which is a bit of a shame since they obviously won the pistol and should have had a bit of a bank. It's already very low, and going for this kind of buy is a definite risk.
Certainly is. Maybe trying to do whatever they can at this conjuncture, just not allowing G2 to get that start. And to be fair to G2, I'm liking the pacing they're coming into this with. Seems as though the right players are starting to perform well. You're seeing the crossfires coming into place. RPK already starting to have a little bit of moment and Scream as ever. Always looking so deadly with that rifle in hand. However, there is 3 players playing pretty close here. You can imagine the CZs just being trying to held at the closest of angles. That is Dupree there, just waiting on the precipice of that smoke. Now, he's actually in a pretty good spot here if they're not too cautious of this. And it does seem as though they may be aware there's a player close towards squad here, though.
He's got a flashbang as well. I sort of wish that flashbang was in pit on Cajun so that Cajun could flash Dupree in. It's always more difficult to throw sort of your own pop flashes, but we'll see Scream right at the edge here, and it's going to get the headshot. Bit of a weird dance going on between the 2 players when they couldn't even see each other. Device going to be getting a refrag. The bomb is out there as well. If Device can pick up this kill, but he can't. RPK gets it in return, and if RPK had gone down, it would have been harder for them to get the bomb back. Now, they're in a 2-on-4. You can even see that Sipnix and Karrigan not even going to try it.
No, it's definitely not the time to be trying for this one. And even just like those jiggle peaks coming out again from Scream just on that corner then. So deadly. You know, we've seen the CZs coming up so strong recently, especially in the hands of Astralis. Na'Vi suffering at that sort of cost just yesterday, so it's not exactly an easy task to get around that, but if G2 just start hitting these shots like they are, this is going to be a very tough game for Astralis. And again, 2 plants, pretty cleanish stuff coming out from G2 once they seem to get that bomb down. These after-plant setups are being pretty robust. We've seen them winning pretty much everything coming their way thus far, but Xyp9x and Karrigan, as you noted, just trying to hold on to these weapons, as really they didn't have much else into this round.
And G2 essentially got mid-control without really any sort of contest from the Astralis side, partly due to the fact that they didn't have smokes and grenades to try and stop them with. They also had C-Sed, so you're right, they had to play some slightly different angles to try and make those effective. And that's a bit of a shame. Now, because of the gamble that they took and it failed, they're in an even worse position. They got the 2 FAMASas here, and the problem is they've already played the hand of going aggressive. Otherwise, I'd actually be a big fan of them doing it in this particular round, because what is the point of playing defensive with 2 FAMASas and a single flashbang? Whereas if you actually go, I mean, if you put the flashbang, which they are doing on B, you could at least pop flash banana and hope to get someone. But if they just wait around, I'll be slightly disappointed.
They have split up Karrigan and Xyp9x, of course, trying to put those rifles into 2 separate places, but Existence just going straight up mid. They are just challenges right out, looking for those peaks already, volleying out the corners, and they have already got a glimpse of Dupree, but there is another man waiting, and he does pounce. Good stuff from Karrigan, making the most of that, taking down 2. I'm not sure if those rifles could be recovered at any point here, as Cajun B is the one closest to this, though, just sat on site, waiting for G2 to make their presence known. Good connections, but not enough.
Cajun just hoping for that one tab there, but
praying for it.
you'd almost seem like at the end he was like, I obviously can't hit this shot. I'm not
It's
even.
over.
I'm not even going to try anymore. Device playing the edge of the smoke, and RPK looking confused for a moment, but he'll get the kill anyway. Sipnik's trying to save this FAMAS, so yeah, I mean another good round for G2, and they know that they won't have the money, so they're not even afraid to try and get the mid control immediately again. This is something that's actually not as easy as it seems right now for G2 to do as a terrorist side. You normally spend a lot of grenades and a lot of time, and if the CT side has an AWP in play along Archway, for instance, then suddenly you're also risking players to actually get into middle like this. But right now, G2 are just walking all the way up and saying, mid is ours, you're going to have to play far back on Arch, maybe back in pit, or in the A-bomb side if you want to have a chance here. And that helps them so much, because if they do that, Astralis, that allows them to play and fake between banana and mid. Whereas if the CT have mid control, that's a lot more difficult. So yeah, they're getting a lot out of this for free right now, especially on the French side. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with how they're coming into this, and it's looking perfectly played. I don't know what one would say. You know, Existence known for the in-game leadership. I don't know if it's even that. They're just playing well. Karrigan, though, going to try and do what he can. We've talked about this before, that deep banana control. They love getting... He always pushes down here. And to be fair, a lot of the time, I believe it's Zipnix who's occasionally with him, will come down as well. So they are very much present on this, taking the map in half almost. But the T-side do have relatively well-set positions. They're not exactly anywhere yet. They've not given themselves up. Shox has got a step in towards getting apps control, and Scream's going to be joining him, trying to clear that out piece by piece. And still, 1 minute left on the round. They've got a lot to work with. All the mollies still in play, almost 3 there for Smith, Scream, and RPK. So still a lot to play for here.
And I mean, on the CT side, they've used the smokes in the middle, which is one of the reasons why G2 don't have mid control yet. But now they only have one left on Karrigan. He's at the bottom of Banana, or at least at Banana now, sort of smoking it up again. So a minute left, and they've used pretty much all their smokes, and this is very tough. We'll see if they can make it work. Now, they've shown themselves in middle, made a bit of noise on the G2 side, and they've pushed Astralis back into the A-bomb site all the way up in Graveyard, which means they have no idea if this is going to be a fake or not. Now they're over at top Banana instead, and actually credit to Karrigan for saving that smoke as long as he did, but it still won't be easy.
They're going back.
Yeah, and they won't know it. They don't have mid control. They have no idea this fake is happening.
No, but here we go. Let's see if they start rotating. Shox is in a great spot here if they do start making the play out of this, but someone's already starting to watch that from the side. Dupree's found Scream pushing up through quad. Cajun B watches the push out, and now suddenly Astralis, just because they didn't rotate, are in a great spot. But RPK comes in with the double, but Device shuts it down, and suddenly you're seeing Astralis starting to read the game a touch better, but just waiting, holding back. Even just that smoke being kept towards Karrigan then made so much difference. They forced people back. They didn't have all the time to go for that perfect set play, and Astralis were waiting.
And credit to Karrigan, not just for saving the smoke, but also getting the kill over there. Definitely helped them out. If they hadn't won the fight in A, which they did, then the rotation for B was going to be very, very, very. So it would have taken ages for them to get there, because they were just a bit uninformed in that round. Again, this is Astralis' third round of running down the middle, and Scream wrecking them. RPK helping out as well. With very low health and existence. He might be going down, and it is a 2v2, so they got to be really careful. Scream looking to take over.
They could still clear out that corner. If he sits there by those sandbags, that's such a dangerous spot to play. And surely he's going to move back at some point. But you said it, Existence is so low. Scream's still pretty well set, and he's going to try and at least clear one corner. No, he's going to go for the smoke. Drop that one out. Sits his place on the cross. Now Zipnix just patiently waits to see if there's any presence. He does have at least the molly and the flash as well, so he can buy the time, put it down. A little early on that one. Maybe just get a little nervous almost on that. But still, they're playing 1-1 site, and it's never a fun game to play.
Well, I mean, it is funny for us, because we can obviously see the overview and see that all the places where G2 are sort of a little bit paranoid that there might be someone that isn't.
Yeah.
But once they've killed 3 CTs here, that they could be anywhere, right? They could be in their apartments, they could be in the second mid by the cart or whatever, so they really got to be careful. So I don't blame them for doing it, but it is a little bit funny right now. Pushing into the B-bomb site, though, Sip is going to be by the fountain, and he has to get at least one kill here and buy time for Dupree to make it on over. He's rotating already. Sip unflashed for a moment. Existence going to be going down. That's a nice headshot with the FAMAS, and now it's all on Scream here. 1 versus 2, 25 seconds, and being flanked very rapidly as well. He has to get this kill. He actually turns around and sees Dupree coming, goes with the one-shot. Oh, he can't transfer the spray. It's a nice attempt from Scream. He gets a triple kill, but Dupree going to finish the round, and it's 5-3. That's good news for Astralis, but they still only have one person living through that round. Their economy is just not great, and I think as a result, that's why G2 are buying, even without the bomb plant here.
Yeah, not too surprising, as you said. And to be fair, I am credit again to Zipnix for just buying time. He just constantly keeps them back at bay. Even those 2 people up on the site, just that one flash that he savoured for so long. But anyway, back to the Tech-9s. We've got actually a lot to work with as well. Hell of a lot of smokes, good amount of flashes, a molly as well on towards existence. Normally they're using it just to clean out CT Arch if they do make their play towards A, but then again, this could be used a little later on. Going to have the deep smoke coming in. Here we go, Pop Flash comes out, and it's just going to be a mad rush coming through. There's another smoke in the way, but it doesn't matter. They're going straight through that. Nice little fade off from the smokes as well. Just going to be cutting some of this map into pieces. A bit of a Pop Flash comes out from the Astralis side, but it's on the other side where the deaths are going to be occurring. It's Dupree finding RPK. Only Scream to get the kill so far, and look at that HP. It's disastrous. There's now just Scream left alive, but he has recovered a rifle, but with only 9 HP, surely nothing can come of it.
Good defense, and you're right. Pretty good use of the smokes there, but ultimately they didn't have the money. And I like the buy up from G2. They only got 2 kills though, and that is a problem. If they got 3, I would have said it would have still been worth it. I think 2 kills is not enough. Now they are going to go for a lot of deagles though, and I don't mind. This is not so much. This is just a way of evening out the money. They have the money to buy an extra round either way, so they might as well do it. And who knows? See a bit of deagle action here. It's not the best map for it, but it's definitely possible to open up.
See, I really like it on CT sides and things like that. I think it's great because you have so many corners to back in towards, but Dupree just snap towards Shock's, not giving him a chance. And to be fair, you know, at the moment, Astralis just playing in pairs, making sure they're not singularly peeking, making sure they can trade out effectively. But then again, Scream's been playing very nicely with this P250 so far. He's been able to catch out, I think it was 2 players already with it. So if he could get a gun away, that'd be perfect, but at the moment, Astralis just having none of what G2 are trying to offer.
The bomb all the way back there. They really want something, some sort of opening, and you're right, it's not happening right now. Zipnix and Carrigan holding strong. They even have the Molotov and another smoke behind this. Smoke just went up, so G2, they can wait as long as they want. Actually, they're going to try and wait their way through the smoke. Oh, this is interesting. Zipnix going to be getting 1 kill, and following up with another one. Finally goes down to RPK, who does get a double kill. It's a really good double headshot. Well worth it for what G2 put into the round. Now they can finally buy, and they need to get back in the game here. If we put up the scoreboard, I'm wondering what Astralis money is like, because this is really important. Oh, it's one of those things where we don't have a scoreboard. Fair enough. Well, we do have the... I recognize this bug.
It's fun, isn't it?
It is fun. Well, we can kind of tell anyway. Cajun has 4,200. So the fact is, G2 have still a sort of a prime position to have a great first half. If they just start pulling a couple of rounds together here, then they'll force the eco and it'll be really bad.
And we're actually going to see the orbs coming out on both sides here. But look at Carrigan again. This time he gets punished for it. Device will at least try and hold them at bay here, but he could be called out. The flash comes out. He just about makes it away. Tries to go on the peak, but RPK... This guy's starting to find that form that we were looking for. Already 2 big kills, denying that aggression that Astralis is trying to show that real presence on Banana. But now, Existence had this AWP picked off of Smith, so see if he can find maybe Zipnix here, who's still holding so close.
This should be when G2 can really use their number. The problem is Existence, RPK are both somewhat low on health, so it's not going to be just a complete walk in the park for them either. And again, a bit of, I won't say it's a gamble, but it is a sort of an uneven setup, right? They could have had one person archway to try and make that guy the rotator, but when you're in a 2v3 like, or 3v4 like this, I kind of do agree. Again, just have one guy holding pit, see how much damage he can do. It's Dupree this time. Last time it was Cajun, and we'll see if he can make it work. He's got a Molotov as well. If he gets a couple of kills here, then this is a fairly even game. And actually, they're rotating on over. They're actually leaving the B bomb site. So really, really big risk coming out here for Astralis. They're going to go for the spray through, and they're exactly right as well. Dupree goes down, but they line up for Cajun. He almost gets a double scream. Down to 6 health. And Zipnix, well, 25 seconds here. If only he could stop that bomb plant, that would be very interesting.
Where is that bomb, to be fair? I'm not even sure where is it. Just on the corner? It
Yeah.
should be easy to recover. Okay. Shox can get that down, but all the meanwhile, Zipnix tried to make his way up, but Existence was already positioned watching quad with the push-up with the AWP. So, bomb even goes down, gets a little bit of money in the bank. And G2, as you said, you know, they had the advantage, they worked off the back of it. It got pretty close, so Astralis just reading the game well then, just heading all the way around towards A, closing in so early, and then Scream coming up with those 2 kills just to find so much for them. I don't know how he does deliver these ridiculously close shots, but Mag 7 out for Dupree. Last time it was the death of Na'Vi pretty much on Mirage to an extent, so hopefully for Dupree he can maybe rekindle a little bit of that.
I'm wondering why Dupree was so eager to fight in pit. before Device engaged them in library. It seemed like they should have been able to make a good crossfire happen there. Cajun with a Semler grenade.
I think he said thank you for saying that.
It looked like it. I'm not sure what that hand sign was. You know, I'm not from LA, obviously, so hard for me to know how that works. Carrigan is going to be going down, but so is Smiths, and that's, as he said, kill there. And you got to imagine that strikes fear into the heart of G2 just a tiny bit, knowing that we've got them pushed to the edge. We know they have next to nothing, but if they win this round, they're right back in, and we're going to be in a really bad spot. Like, this is the point in time when G2 can actually sort of win the first half, essentially.
Yeah, so they relay raced that AWP all the way down Banana just towards the tree, just behind the wood stack, leaving one sitting up by Banana, see if anyone's going to push down, trying to recover the lost gun that did obviously come through from the CZ kill. But still waiting on the corner here, Dupree. Now, he played this spot when he was down to the CZ, so they may be expecting it to some sort of aspect, because G2 took this approach last time. But then again, that pop flash is much better. Last time it was on Dupree. You said you'd rather it be in Cajun B's hands. This time it was, and already they get some control, get some information, back up to site. But still, G2 have numbers to work with here. They're still relatively well set, but Scream's a little low. Existence isn't perfect, and Existence could be walking into a bit of a tricky spot here. There's still one man at the back, and it is Device this time. Maybe expecting it to be Zipnix, and now look at Device just going to buy the time. Just maybe shoulder peek out here and there. He's going to have to make the commitment on the peak, but Scream takes the shot, and now we're into 3v2.
Oh. 9 seconds left, and this is the problem. The other player on G2 is miles away, so Scream has to go for the plan. It's going to be stopped by Cajun, actually, coming in through CT spawn, and the round is done. Shox going to have to run away. It's a real shame for G2, because this was a big opening for them, and they can't make the round away. They don't get the bomb plants, they don't have the money either. And Astralis, I mean, almost sort of envy levels of continuously forcing right at the edge, but making it work now. I do want to credit Existence, though. What he does, I mean, he's actually bottom of the scoreboard, but running in like that as the first man in, checking everything and just saying, I'm gonna just risk it and see if I can make it work. That's pretty good. And it looked like they were able to follow up on it. They cleared out new boxes, but it still wasn't quite enough. Now we're in the 13th round, and G2, the way they've been playing, they really should be at more than 4 rounds. They're all the time at the edge of jumping up to 6.
It's kind of insane, considering 3 of these rounds they won with the bomb plant, didn't lose a single player afterwards. This is the push that may make a difference, but actually turned it out pretty closely in the end. And
you mentioned Dupree in this match 7 earlier.
This guy, I don't know what's up with him. He's just so good with this gun at the really annoying times. And Scream's out there like, I don't want to get that bomb. I don't want to move. I'm okay in my little corner where I'm going to wait and just let Carrigan take me down. But you know, as I said, this is the thing that G2, when they took the rounds, they looked so convincing. That's the thing, you know, they got the bomb plants down. They didn't lose a single player in 3 rounds every time they planted in the after plant situation. It was that decisive. But after that, it's just kind of stopped.
Now, what's a real shame is that it was actually a great setup for G2, and it's something I wish more people or more teams would do, because they had the flash coming in from middle to sort of pop over apartments and over balcony, so it should have been a nice way to get out of balcony. They just couldn't do it, and look at this, Dupree coming up with a actually double kill, and Carrigan and Sip helping out, so great trade. That's the 4th round in a row where they run middle. That's very uncommon. Usually it's something you do 1 round where you feel like it might catch them off guard. Yeah. I'm always wondering if there's some sort of like reverse psychology going on here where, because they do it so much, they know G2 must be a little bit paranoid that it could happen again and again, so
just give them maybe a chance to get some sort of that mid-control in, and you can see it. Just look at Dupree. Device covering off in the background, and there we go. It's pretty... It's frustrating as well, bearing in mind, even if they are only on the pistols. It's like, why are they down mid again? But still, it does mean that there's a little more, you know, air of caution with the G2 side, just even trying to get out of those T-stairs. But Dupree's found Shox already, so again, a big start for Astralis. And G2 just not getting the control they had before, but Smith doesn't care. He's going straight up mid. He's powering through towards CT Arch, and already a little bit of a fallback coming through. It's going to be Carrigan's peek in the corner this time. He's in trouble there if he's not going to be sitting back too cautiously, but Scream and Smith's are going to find the kills, leaving down to this 3v3.
Oh, but a lot still rides on Device up here. If he can put an end to it, I mean, they've got him sandwiched in, and they're going to know as well. Device... It's all about timing, and he's got a great angle here. Whether they go for the main entrance or CT spawn, he's going to have a chance to shoot one of them at least. And Carrigan and Cajun, they actually each have a Molotov. I'm wondering if that could be used in a retake somehow. Right now, it's all on Device, getting the first couple of kills in. Smokes up, and that's going to allow Scream to cross at least. Device missing a shot, and now he's in a lot of trouble here. They almost line up for him. That's a bit scary. Goes for another shot. He realizes this is very bad. He's got the Tech 9 out. Backup is coming. Carrigan going to get that kill on RPK.
Yeah, and it's all about timing now. To be fair, Device is buying time as much as possible now. Existence found Carrigan down to this 1v2, and there we have it. Device going to pluck Scream out of the air, and he took the time and he made the shots eventually, but he certainly missed a few on the route to that.
That almost looked like G2 had no idea that there was only one person there.
Yeah.
And maybe what they thought was, we put the smoke up in CT spawn, so whoever was there has probably rotated back through construction and is going to be cross-firing with Device. Because if they had known, then they should have been able to essentially rush him down much quicker.
Yeah. Wasn't the case in the end. And look, and I think the big summary for me is the fact that really, G2 looked like they deserved more rounds, just because in my mind it was how convincingly they were, when they did win them, how convincing it looked. And you know, but then again, Astralis kept throwing these curveballs, like literally just powering down mid, bringing this real dash of aggression, even on those kind of force buys as well, making it work. You know, adjusting just small pieces here and there, and it really did pay dividend. But then again, this is the side I wanted to see G2 on personally, is how they play the CT side, because it was quite impressive when I saw them last year at the game show. But then again, Astralis on the T side, they've got a lot to show here, and they have a good amount of rounds to sit on, and they have a nice kind of buffer coming into their T side.
Yes, and it would also be nice to see Shox get into play a bit more. He's got 4 kills, actually, bottom fragging right now on the team. That's definitely not acceptable, so we'll see if that's going to change. He is in middle, and he is a remarkable pistol player, so it'd be bad for Astralis to run into that. Scream, also with the headshots, as we've become so used to by now. Device probably going to need a little bit of time to recover from that one.
It's just like an execution with that. Just the USPS just peeks down, and it's just like, yeah, your head's gone already. But it does seem as though Cajun B's going to be trying to be the one to hold the corner, and getting a little bit sent packing there on that one as the corner was Existence. But that bomb's just kind of meandering down the bottom of Banana. They haven't committed anything. They've got one player up in towards apartments, and no one's really moving at this point. G2 has absolutely no need to.
They got a smoke on Carrigan, so it looks like they're probably going to smoke Existence position. They even have a flashbang to make it in. See if Carrigan can set this one up for his team. Dupree and Cajun going to be leading the charge eventually. Alright, so if they smoke up further from behind, that's going to be more of a signal now. It's going to be a little bit quicker maybe than G2 are expecting. Flash on through, Existence goes for the peak. Scream hits one more headshot. Existence very low, and he's going to end up going down exactly at the same time as Scream did. Now the bomb is going to be planted. It's a 3-on-3 retake. And I have no idea where G2 have the kit right now, and that could be a big problem. They don't currently have one picked up.
It could be an absolutely massive problem at this point, so it is going to be the time to come back into this one. 3v3. Smith's getting himself towards the site. Good play from Shox. You've noted him earlier being such a standout with this pistol. He's claimed Dupree scalps, and now he's just down to Zipnix and Cajun B, clearing out Dark. There's no one there. Sitting, though, in the barbecue pit, it was one more, and the defuse will come out. So a really nicely played retake. RPK again, and Shox, the 2 players to stand out in it. Didn't need the kit in the end. They had enough time.
And you have to imagine an absolutely critical round here for G2. It's hard to see how they could have made it back in the game if they hadn't won this round. Now, there's no reason to suppose they couldn't do exactly what Astralis just did to them, just in reverse. And we've already seen Astralis' capability of throwing rounds or maps on Overpass. So why not on Inferno as well?
Oh, it mildly breaks my heart every time. I don't know why. It's just like, no, you're so close. But still. Deagle's going out for the T side, as I said, you know, not a massive investment. And Scream wants to make the most of it, make all the bank with Smiths and Shox on the SMGs as well. So, seems like 3 SMGs are becoming more popular. The flash goes a little bit wonky there, and it does mean that a little bit of fire will come through, but Scream's already going off, and you can see him just trying to pin them in. And Device just trying to play whack-a-mole with them, sadly on the wrong end of it all. But he's still alive somehow.
This is a really silly game that's going on here. Knife him. That's what I said.
Punish him. It's just sat there with P250.
Well,
to be fair, look at RPK in Existence.
Yeah, they are kind of low in health, so it's Shox, I think, is probably going to get this kill, and that's going to be it. So 6-11. I like it though. You know, getting a taste of their own medicine, just rushing them down. Why not? And now they are playing as AKs, because there was a bomb plant in the first round.
But will G2 upgrade here?
No, I doubt it.
Yeah.
It's become this thing, and I'm not always convinced it's a good idea to keep them. Yeah. Maybe one if you have a lot of money, but they don't even have that. Shox would have enough to buy, but Smith doesn't.
I think it was Envy I saw doing it super early on, and I was like, but then again, they make it kind of work. So if it works out, it always seems like a great idea, but when it goes wrong, you're kind of left really dwindling. And it was like, well, Shox is going to a good spot, but I don't know if he got spotted out crossing then. I think there's one player pushed up. It was Dupree. He's kind of near the balcony on the hay bales. RPK's now joined him, so there's going to be a nice crossfire here, and RPK's found 2. Lovely play from him. Now the pound should come out from Shox. It does. Dupree falls, and App's control just remains in the hand of G2. We, again, upgrade to a rifle coming through for Shox, but now the push to B may be the last option here.
Yeah, and with 1 smoke on device as well. I mean, this does not seem like a very winnable situation, but Scream ends up going down. What a great peek on top of the smoke there for device. And I think Scream was ready to put up a grenade or something, so he couldn't even easily return fire. It's going to be a 2-on-3 now. And there's so much time still left. And G2, at least Shox is playing for information here, which is very good news. He doesn't see anyone, and you can tell that immediately starts to pull them over towards the B-bomb side. They feel like this might be happening. I'm wondering if Shox is going to go and peek middle again, just to get confirmation from what he saw coming out of apartments.
We're already going to see Smith rotating, so I think that the Inkling is certainly going to be right. Good timing on the flash then, actually going to buy a little bit of time. The smoke's going to come down, giving a little bit more room to breathe for Smiths to get closer, but on the site its existence, he's going to be the standing bastion here. Does finally peek out from the statue, but it's traded out, and now Carrigan left in the 1v1. Bomb's going to go down, plenty of time for that, but Shox is en route, up Banana, and he does have the kit.
Yeah, Carrigan, is he going to know where he's coming from? That's the big thing. He's hiding all the way in the back here. And this is a perfect situation to get just a quick headshot in Shox. There's no grenades, so he can't force him out, but Carrigan on 30 health, so it's just going to be a couple of bullets, and that'll be it. Shox getting a double kill and ending the round in favor of G2, but also, I would say, helping out and getting the information that allowed Smith to even rotate in there. So pretty good job overall. That's going to make it 7-11, and the money for Astralis, well, again, whenever you win a round on the T side and there's only 1 CT left, you always got to wonder if it isn't worth it to just go for these tech lines, yeah.
Especially on this map, I think there's so much room to be able to utilize them. A hell of a lot of smokes with the Astralis as well, so I'm hoping we see something that kind of G2 did as well, where they smoke off a hell of a lot of the A side, but then again, G2 going to be applying a little bit more pressure down Banana, get that early information to some sort of degree, and that's a good bit of information coming through. Device goes down, sees no one else. And now look at Astralis all lining up by second mid. The smoke's be coming in, I can imagine, towards pit, maybe towards quad, but then again, I'm not sure what their setup is, but wow, Shox is right behind them, he's completely blind, and Cajun B took down Zipnix! What on earth is going on? This is absolute madness. They're flying through the smoke, and G2 are just sitting there expecting the play.
Yeah, that's when you know you put down too many smokes, when you actually have no idea if you're shooting at your friends or the other team, but Dupree and Cajun left here, and again, getting a couple of kills in will be valuable. We had the same discussion when it was G2 on the other side, and I said 3 kills, I think, is what you need in a round like this. Cajun, it would be impressive if he could get 3 here. Gonna pick up the 1, goes for a bit more. Oh, Scream! He's gonna make it out through the smoke, and now Cajun, he's got a real chance to get a second kill in, but so many grenades raining in, and he is kind of zoned out right now. Gonna be trying to get into Archway, and it won't happen. Still, brave effort. And G2, though, they're only going to lose 2 people, and I think that's worth it for them.
Yep. And that was pretty much the same amount as G2 got when they tried to do it. They got 2 kills on the opposition, and then nothing else. So, 8-11, and G2 CT side so far is looking pretty good. The thing that came to my mind when I watched them before at the game show was how passively actually they were playing. They're playing very, very deep. Even at the very start, they're playing a very deep game on the CT side, just sitting back all the way back. But so far, they've not even been pushed to play that sort of position yet. Then again, Rifle's coming back out for Astralis. Got a couple, a molly at least on Dupree there, so hopefully he can maybe find a way to kind of clear out some of these corners. But so far, I'm liking the confidence on the peaks from G2. They're holding relatively well so far, and they don't even look that pushed, at least so far on the CT side.
No, they're being very defensive. You're absolutely right, and we'll see if that's going to continue to hold. I mean, they have a presence on Archway, which I really like. That Smith's, I think, playing with the AWP, so they're not giving Astralis, mid-control completely for free. In fact, they probably would like them to come and peek just to see if they can't get that kill in. Smoke coming up, though, from the other side, and still so much time left here. And they have 1 Molotov. I'm wondering what they are going to do. Now that they have the mid-control, at least, and they realize no one's there, they've got a lot of different options still at a 50 seconds. And because this look, if they bring the bomb back on Banana, I'm wondering if this isn't going to be a split towards B.
We have to keep our eyes on the bomb as well. Like, of course, there's 3 players here caught. Oh my god, in that flash, RPK could have had an absolute plethora of kills then, but he does get found by Carrigan. So now Smith needs to be cautious. He flashes out. He doesn't have anyone snuck past through CT Arch, and there could be a split coming. So he's going to be a linchpin player, as are the players on the B side. Down to 20 seconds here. If Smith doesn't get these guys on the cross, it's going to be all guns are blazing towards B. We better see where that bomb's going, because everyone's going to start pouring through, and it's down to Existence and Wilder to hold this side.
Yeah, they've got a good setup at B still. It's possible for them to defend, even if there's a lot of terrorists coming in. Grenade rains up, they forget to check the oranges, and now it's going to be still a double kill in return. Scream and Existence both going down, and now 5 seconds left, 4 seconds. That bomb plant finally coming through, and Smith is going to be alone with the AWP trying to run in and retake. I'm not sure that he should. They do not have the money, G2. Only one of them can buy, and the rest cannot. Smith will pick up a kill on one. And he goes for a bit of action out here on Banana, realizing there might be someone here, and he's exactly right. Carrigan trying to hide and just buy time. AK shots coming through. He misses the opportunity, and Smith is going to go down. Quad kill for Carrigan. And Astralis going to make it another round for themselves. 12-8. As you can see, the money only Shox here could really buy. And this is where this is where Astralis actually did go for some crazy buys. Yep. And you can tell that G2 are not quite willing to.
No. At the moment, just a couple of 5.7s, touch of armor on Shox with the Deagle, just evening things out. And to be fair, I love that from Astralis, but you think the danger of that then? RPK was literally, a second out of the flash almost. He could have maybe got 2 kills and denied the split coming through CT Arch, but the difference a couple of seconds on that flash can make, or just being able to turn it. And there we have it. But still, RPK this time just on the P250, holding as close as he can towards that mid play, and Astralis just taking their time, sitting back, seeing what they're up against.
Still not much of an attempt on G2's side to sort of force anything here. Existence has a flashbang over at B, so they could try and pop flash out of Banana, see what's going on. But yeah, a bit of I think too much of a passive setup here. I would have rather they take that flashbang and try and set up 4 people and a 5th guy throwing the flashbang, like something that's a bit more interesting and probably a bit more likely to succeed, I would say.
Just try something, you know what I mean? That's certainly something, but then again, 4 players now pushing their way up. This shouldn't be anything. What? Shox, that was beautiful. Device just gets wrecked. But still, it's 2 players against 3. They've got the bomb pretty close to sight. There's no guns, I think, anywhere really near the G2 could get hold of, and they have no armor anyway. So this round should be relatively set, but, they have to be cautious on the way out here. They want to keep all these rifles in the game for Astralis, of course.
I think one of the best teams at doing creative plays like that is Luminosity. And if you think about a map like Inferno, how many places you could do what they do essentially, at least on some maps, and just have one guy with a flashbang set up for the other 4 people. It's definitely a viable idea. Existence going to go down, and Astralis will survive the round with 3 members, and now just 3 rounds away from winning on Inferno here. And the problem, I feel like, at least for the foreseeable future, if you're on the G2 team here, is economy. They will always be struggling for money now, unless they can put together a lot of consecutive rounds. This is a beautiful kill, though.
That guy's absolutely nutty, I'm not gonna lie. Just any pistol, it just looks ridiculous, whatever he does. But we are gonna see the AWPs coming out. Device as well on the T side, picking one up, and it is gonna be Smith's this time again, just by CT Arch. Last time he kind of got negated in the round, as they did come through towards that side of things, but it looks like already Astralis trying to speed up the pace a little bit here to get that early mid control. But from the passive setup, it looks like G2 are actually holding pretty well so far. Dupree's been found, and now it's Cajun being quad. Does get peeked. Lovely control on that, just punishing RPK, but there's still 2 players here.
Smokes up as well, but they didn't expect there for there to be 2 people in pit, so Shox is going to get a bit of a free shot in on Cajun. That was all he needed. And now it's back into 3 versus 4. So Astralis certainly putting the pressure on right now, but they're coming out on bottom of these trades, and Smith says walking in with this AWP again, it's going to be a trade. Bomb is down, 2 versus 3. If they could just recover that bomb, they can still try and play for time here. 55 seconds. Now it's down to seeing if G2 are actually going to make any mistakes here.
I'm wondering if Existence, he was considering having to run the hell back then, because that bomb did get recovered, and I think Scream was like, okay, that's gone missing. Now, Device has the bomb. He's got 40 seconds. Absolutely no utility, but Existence didn't rotate all that early, so he's going to have a little bit of a way to run. He should be able to get there first, at least. Maybe. Oh, the smoke hits. He knows he's close by. Device on the drive-by. He's going back for more. He's going to go try and peek him out here, and he gets the shot. Suddenly, it's a 2v1, and he's actually got the smoke in the perfect place for himself now.
Yeah, they're both coming in from the same angle, so if he's going to realize that they're not coming from CT spawn, and he probably will right about now, this could actually be a little bit tricky. Scream making some noise as he walks into the bomb site, tries to get the jump up. Device sees it already. Is he going to realize there's a second man coming on Device? Timing is very unfortunate, but it seemed like actually there was some good communication as well between Scream and Shock, so well played on their part. They are going to win the round, even if only barely, and make it to 9-13. With a bomb plant, though, Astralis, I'm wondering what kind of money they're going to be having, because that it really is the key. They're going to have just enough to put together a buy. And G2's economy is still wrecked.
Really is. To be fair, G2, I wouldn't... lucky's a strong word, but, you know, Existence staying around that long, having 4 players by that A side, and just the fact that Astralis didn't expect that second player around pit after they picked up one already. I think it was RPK who they picked up initially, and they're like, okay, it's got to be done, but wasn't the case. But anyway, Smith straight away going for the peak here, but it looks like a very quick presence towards B, and as the 2 players actually for G2 are completely flashed up, Existence going back out, but taking a lot of damage from that molly for very little gain at that point.
I do like the idea that they try and go at least a bit aggressive with the 157 here. I mean, even if you go down, if you get the information, that's still pretty much worth an Existence. He's still playing very close here. I think he really wants to be flashed in. And RPK, sorry, not RPK, but Scream is behind him with a flashbang in hand as well. But they're going to get executed on while they're trying to set up. They haven't checked the corner yet. Existence with the 570 get only the 1 kill. That could have been brilliant. But Scream and Existence are both going to go down. And so much of this happened because they were setting up for that pop flash. You could see on the little hut in the corner that Scream had the flash selected. So he was ready for it. He was ready to put it out. And it still just caught them off guard. That was a matter of pure timing.
So how many rounds have literally come down to timing? You know, it's when you're playing the game, you blame timing is one thing, but when we get to see the full picture and it actually is that, it's just like literally pretty unlucky. You know, Existence whiffed a couple of shots once he came out, of course, but still, a couple is an understatement. But you know,
well, it's also the weapon he has in that corner. You know, what if he had a Max 7 instead? Probably could have taken 2 people with him very quickly, right? It's always a bit different when it's one of those pistols. So there we go, 14-9. Only silver lining right now is G2 at least managed to save 3 rifles. So they've got that going on for them. They still can't even really buy, and it might be a tactical timeout here, I expect.
Yeah, I don't think there are many other reasons. I don't see anyone disconnecting, and it's the time to talk, I guess, for them, because the thing is that they haven't been really outplayed. It just seems like occasionally it's been pretty unfortunate, and occasionally you see Astralis do something really nice, like Device pulling some really good rounds, playing very smart. I don't know.
Can we bring up the scoreboard, or is that still weird? No, it's still weird.
You just see a little flash of sadness, like,
GG.
no.
All right, well, what I was curious about is essentially on the first half when G2 are playing on the T side.
Yeah.
There is a really big difference between the T side. If you win, they got 4 rounds overall, right? If you win those 4 rounds consecutively, then it's almost 100% that you're going to be forcing a big eco on the CT side.
Yeah.
And then those 4 rounds will essentially sort of spawn you a 5th and a 6th round even, maybe. Whereas it felt like G2's rounds were spread out over the half.
Very sporadic throughout.
Yeah, which means Astralis could always just buy, or they could always just force it up, right? So I feel like the distribution of rounds was somehow bad for them in that sense.
Can you see it through if you press Q? Can you do the stats through that? I'm not sure if you can.
I don't know.
I don't know if you can see the way rounds play out. I don't use that feature enough because it's just like random. Don't know.
Yeah, that we need better stats essentially.
Please, Volvo, like give us Dota stats.
I've always wondered why the game just doesn't have like a central database for all like the top 16 teams or 20 teams, so that each player has like their own stat profile for every like LAN tournament.
Like how cool would that be?
Well, because then you could start doing stats like whenever Cajun gets an entry frag, how often do Astralis win the round?
Yeah.
When he's the entry frag or whatever. Yeah. Like there's stuff like that you could start making.
Otherwise,
like,
it's literally having to do it manually, which is almost not impossible, but you know.
I don't have the mental fortitude for that kind of work, Lauren. It's too much.
It's horrific. I was out there trying to work out the percentage of what KDA Guardian is at to be able to, like, 99.9% of the time win
There
the
are
game
some
with the long
there
end.
are some fairly mad people who will
Work that
who will
out.
do. I think Predator over at ESCA is one of them. Peter from HLTV.
Peter's insane. I love
Yeah.
seeing the stats.
So there are some people out there who are very. I think even Jason Kaplan did it for a while.
Jason,
but
don't bring up Jason Kaplan in a good light. Never do that.
I know it's true.
What are
It's
you doing?
true. It's unfashionable.
It
You're
is.
right. But,
You can't be doing that.
it's really hard work. It definitely
It
is.
is. It's not exactly the most rewarding as well, is it? It's like occasionally you might find this absolute nugget. But anyway, we are live back into this one, and it is 9-14 in favour to Astralis thus far. But Smiths, let's get the opener. A lovely flash will catch Cajun, and now this bit of a stack go up towards B might just actually cause a little bit of trouble here for Astralis as they are walking into the hands of Existence, who's actually getting the kills done just pretty well so far and managed to get back out into the smoke. Pulls out the AWP, and suddenly these flashes are really causing Astralis so many issues.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like they should have been able to at least get the kill on Existence then, and that would have been beautiful. Now they're playing a 3-on-3. Existence can actually run in before the bomb plant here. That's a bit brave. They're going to try and go before they even get the bomb down. Shocks now to try and clutch it in a 1v2, but he can see the bomb. I don't think he realized. I think if he had known the bomb was there, maybe he would have just chilled out a little bit. Good double kill for Cajun. 15-9, and the money for G2. This is almost heartbreaking. You'd at least want them to have a chance of putting up a good defense here at the end, and it seems like they won't be able to.
No, it does seem as though this is all but over, really. They didn't really get much of a chance to kind of break into this side. I think maybe we could have seen a little bit more, but it feels like the buy rounds were so few and far between. We didn't really get to see their kind of presence here, but Astralis, sure they do have the dominance. They did secure a hell of a lot of rounds on their CT side, so certainly deserving to have this, but Smoke not quite going perfectly towards Banana there, and Existence going to back up a little bit. And the T-side just taking their time. They have no idea what they're up against, and you can't really blame them. They just might as well clear out these corners as cautiously as they can, as Shox is waiting to do some execution work up in those apartments. And sadly for Zipnix, he might be on the receiving end, as he is.
No shotgun. Oh, beautiful. Good job on Shox, but still I think not quite good enough overall. I am excited to see that it's Scream and RPK who are sort of top throwing him. I really want Shox to be. He doesn't have to be number one in my mind, but he has to be in the top 3 on this team. And he has been underperforming in this game. And I think that has a big reason for it. I actually think this is a deceptively sort of one-sided scoreline right now. It's definitely true to say that G2 could have had. It could have just as well been like 13-11 or something in favor of them right now instead. That's definitely possible. So, yeah, I think I don't want to say they've been cheated out of anything, but some of those rounds, if they'd just been a little bit more close together, it would have had Astralis ecoing a lot more. Now, we're going to have to see if they can actually bring it home in this round. They are a man up, and now the charge is coming through. Carrigan leading it with the AK in hand, spraying furiously. Again, they're not checking this corner, and they've made this mistake once, and this time they get punished for it. Scream with a good double kill, and now it's in a 2-on-2 with a health advantage going in favor of G2.
Well, you want to see Shox have to step up. This is certainly the time. He's got himself the rifle as well. Cajun and Device sat in toward the site, and the retake's coming through. Shox, they're going to use the molly to clear out that close corner down by Barbecue, but no one's really there. Actually, no, Cajun! How the hell was he trying to leap out of that? I thought he was already ahead of it, but no. Now Device gets swept aside. RPK comes in, and he must have just been on the other side. I don't know how that got him then.
Maybe he had an aneurysm. I don't even know.
Like, my assumptions are like, oh, maybe I just didn't read him right on the map. Your assumptions are maybe aneurysm.
I can't actually figure out like good reason why you would stand in the fire. I mean,
No.
we do call it barbecue, so maybe he was role playing really hard and just couldn't stop himself. Just
The second life dream coming through in CSGO. Just pure RP.
let me just go. I can't believe it. I don't know.
Alrighty, well, G2 live to fight another day.
Yeah, that Molotov was even at the corner, so he should have been able to stand just on the wall or something, and he wouldn't have even been exposed to construction. So I just don't know. We'll have to do an interview Sunday with Cajun and
Just break it. How was the brain aneurysm? Are you okay?
is everything fine?
Yeah, Smith though, timing might be a factor in this one. Doesn't get the perfect shot he wanted there. Dupree will actually get the shot very nicely placed towards him, and that's going to force a little bit of a move coming out from G2 here. I think it's Existence who's been forced to kind of pull himself back over towards the A site, as already losing out on one player this early is going to cause a lot of problems.
I mean, with that kind of entry frag, with them getting not that much in return is definitely a big issue. Shox wanting to go and check what's up. Dupree should not be taking this fight, obviously, as he's on 14 health. Better to have him alive for another day. Third man over there is Scream, and he's going to have to come up. Big RPK and Scream both going down, and now we're playing a 5 versus 2 Existence, and Shocks are left. Not in very good positions either. Shocks trying to get the spray down. He's going to pick up the 1 kill, going for a bit more mid-air. He cannot touch Dupree. And now Existence alone. And I have to notice, we haven't seen the death freeze yet, have we?
Don't. No, it can't be. It can't be.
No, I mean, Existence here is not going to be clutching around. This is
I'm not getting excited from this.
This is a 1-on-4, and he's made it a 1-on-3. And he's also sandwiched him with no idea the device is behind him. He's reloading his device, comes around the corner. He actually gets that headshot. It's ridiculous. And now it's a 1-on-2. Molotov is going to go up towards the bomb site, but they've got him sandwiched in either way. And there's the shot coming through. Cajun picking it up, and it will be 16 rounds for Astralis, defeating G2 in their first matchup.
Yeah,
Wow.
I like the way we almost got hope then because of like, where was the death freeze?
Well, does that mean they fixed it? Could it be fixed?
We pray.
We have been asking for like 3 years, more or less, for that to be the case. So.
I don't know. Like I assume maybe like that didn't freeze at any point, did it? There was a pause, but there wasn't a. No, I don't know. But that aside,
the only freeze we had was Cajun just standing in the fire.
Just a momentary lapse in judgment.
Don't know what's happening.
No idea.
Right. Well, I mean, overall, I would say an interesting game. Again, I think deceptively one-sided. If you just look at the score, I would actually say that was a scoreline that I think is reasonable for the sort of skill gap between the two teams.
Correct.
I just think if just some of the rounds on the T side for G2 were a bit closer together, then Astralis would have been ecoing way more, and it could have easily been like an 8-7 instead, where they get 7 rounds on T side, and then they actually probably win the game. So, yeah, I think still a pretty good effort put in by G2 actually.
Now the best part is, of course, we get to see another map between these two coming up in just a moment's time. Cash. Yeah. Now I think. Personally, I always harp on about G2 on Cash. I think it's very easy to summarize that when you get into the mind thoughts of Existence on there, how much they have. You get these aim stars as well. It's a map that can really combine the two. But looking forward to seeing what Astralis can bring. See if it's going to be a closer game, quite possibly. Yeah,
and I think the CT side as well for Astralis is not particularly impressive, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes. I think we are going to go to a break, and then we're going to come back with Cash, still with Astralis and G2.